I booked it despite my fear, and as soon as I knew it was booked, I watched almost every single documentary of the Titanic I could find. Hello and welcome. So a surefire way to not make videos when you think you will make videos is to tell people that you'll be doing that every week. Yeah, as soon as you put a date on it, you're not going to do it. So that's what's happened with me. I said that I was going to be releasing a video every Friday, and then I didn't because I've been really busy giving myself haircuts and eating food. Lots of food. First of all, thank you to everyone that is subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. And I do promise that I will have more content coming soon. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult at the moment to get on board ships because I don't know if you've noticed, but there are none. So I will be doing a lot more of that. And I actually do have some footage of the Majestic Princess that I haven't put together yet, but I will be doing that. And my aim as well is to get on board more ships as they come back to normal functioning operation later this year. And when I do that, I will be getting more involved with the vlogging type of video, because who doesn't love a vlog? So I asked you the other week to share with me your first cruise stories. I wanted to hear all about your first time, and I had a few responses, some on Facebook and some on YouTube. This was all inspired by my first cruise ever, which was on board the P&O Fair Princess. So one moment, this thing is quite old. I mean, it's me. Chubby and tanned. Now I'm just chubby. So the Fair Princess to me was the most incredible ship ever because it was the first cruise that I did. I was a kid, obviously. I was 11. She actually sailed for Sitmar Cruise Lines, which no longer exists. To my memory, they merged with Princess, or Princess bought them and took over their ships. So this was the Fair Sky or Fair Sea. So Fair Princess started life as the Fair Sea with Sitmar, and in 1988, Princess purchased Sitmar. So the Fair Sea was renamed the Fair Princess, and that's the ship that I sailed on. And then eventually, I didn't sail with her while she sailed for Princess. She had been transferred to P&O, so she was Australia's ship for quite a while. Nothing too fancy, but really great experience, especially being a kid on a cruise ship, come on. Not that that's any different to now, because I feel like a kid whenever I get on one, and maybe that's why I like them so much, because it's just so enjoyable, it brings back so many good memories. And so I've sailed on about 23 cruises now, which is not that many in comparison to a lot of people, but I love them, and I'll be doing more of them. I'm not sure why I said it like that. That is the Fair Princess. She was very old, and now when I look at her, I kind of laugh, but also it was the best cruise ever, because it was the first cruise ever. And that first experience of being at sea that very next day after you leave port, I'll never forget that, even though I was only 11. So I want to read some of the comments that I got. Okay, so I have one comment in particular that I'm going to start with, and I'm going to read it to you. This is from YouTube, and this is from Donna. So Donna, thank you for sharing your story, and I really enjoyed reading it. I only booked our first cruise because it was a country music cruise, which was affordable, and I spent 3 months tracking the Pacific Dawn and videoing her and photographing her to ease my nerves of cruising. I booked it despite my fear, and as soon as I knew it was booked, I watched almost every single documentary of the Titanic I could find, trying to find ways to cancel it because I felt my fear was of the large ships. But then I started watching video tutorials and other people's experiences on their cruises, and of course your videos, thank you. And a man in Canada called Don, shout out to Don, he has some good videos too. And from there I spent 3 months making sure I availed myself of every possible opportunity to see her come in, and started to feel at ease with the idea. Finally, when the day came to board the ship, I was asked if I wanted to go to the viewing deck to see her up close before we sailed, and I said no immediately, as I knew that if I did that and then looked up, I would not board the ship out of fear. So I played it safe and waited till they checked us in and gave us our cruise cards and then called us up to board. Well, that was it. I fell in love with everything I saw. She was just like a resort and the food was amazing. Then we went to muster, and when that was over, we went up to deck to watch her leave the dock, but to our surprise, she had already begun moving away from the dock. I was shocked as I didn't feel her move. Once we began sailing down the river, I was in awe of how wonderful I felt. The breeze in my hair and going under the bridge, hearing the horn blast from on board the ship as opposed to hearing it as she sailed past us while on land. I forgot all my fears. Day 2 saw us on the bow of the ship, and that was the most magical experience of all. Turns out my fear isn't of cruise ships, it's a fear of drowning. The best part was the incredible sunsets and sunrise photos I could possibly ever ask for. Made me feel safe, and the gentle swaying of the ship at night cradled me to sleep. Donna, thank you for sharing that story. I think it's fantastic, and to see that you enjoyed yourself was definitely great. Another comment from YouTube is from Ray, and Ray says, my wife and I had our first cruise on the Pacific Sky and did a last minute booking sailing from Auckland to Fiji on the 23rd of May 2002. It was an outside cabin, but on the bottom passenger deck right up in the bow of the ship. The anchor rattled down just up from our cabin, and what a ding it made. However, we had a great time, even though by today's standards, the ship was very basic, but she really gave me in particular a real taste for cruising. Yes, well, the Pacific Sky is actually a ship that I sailed on as well in 2004. Although she was a little bit more basic, she was definitely something that personally think that these older style ships, and I think that's why today I really enjoy the smaller, more intimate ships. There's something about the level of connection that you have when you're on board with the people as well, but also with the sea and the ocean. It just feels different. It feels a little bit more like you're not in a giant floating resort, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but we each have preferences. So they're 2 great stories just from YouTube, and I have plenty more from Facebook. We've got Katie from Facebook who says that she really enjoys the drinks, the entertainment, and the food. Of course, you can drink as much as you like and you don't have to worry about driving, and you make fantastic friends, and I am on board with that. In fact, I met Katie on board a cruise ship a few years back, so perfect example of that. Tom says that his first cruise was on his 30th wedding anniversary, and they let someone else make the reservations, and they had an inside cabin, so that's a cabin without a window. It was said that we wouldn't spend any time there, not so. Many cruises since love the food and being waited on, and our favorite is Sea Days, and that was 34 years ago. So how about that? And I think that's a perfect example of the differences that some people have as far as their expectations of the cruise and their cabin choice. So if you take an inside cabin, you obviously don't get any natural light. And for some people, that's fine. And some people actually love the fact that it's just so dark that you can rest so easily and sleep whenever you want. Other people do find that they spend more time in their cabins. I'm one of those. I tend to retire to my cabin when I feel like I would just want to get away from everything, and then I really enjoy having a balcony. So for me, balcony is a minimum on a cruise, but you know, different strokes for different folks. So Valerie shared first year married with the in-laws, simple Mexico cruise, and the love for cruising is still strong today, 20 plus years later. The marriage non-existent, but I think I'd prefer the cruising than the marriage personally. Gladys says her first cruise was a group from their social club, and they had a fabulous time cruising up the coast of Queensland through the beautiful Barrier Reef. And they were hooked after that. They loved everything about it. Evelyn says her first cruise was in 1988 on the Vera cruise from Tampa. Supposed to go to Mexico, but ports changed based on hurricane damage to some Mexican piers. So they went to Key West instead and had a blast. An old, not fancy ship, low cost, big fun. We were hooked. Now 53 cruises done worldwide and on big, beautiful, modern ships. Platinum on 3 lines. So that's exciting. Kerry says that her first Princess cruise was the Alaska cruise tour in May 2011 on the Diamond Princess, and then they stayed in the Princess Lodges at Denali and Mount McKinley. So staying at the lodges, the food, the scenery, it was all fantastic. And the scenery whilst cruising Glacier Bay was spectacular. We loved how we walked off the ship straight into the towns. Helicopter ride to go dog sledding was something we will always remember. The fantastic waiters that served us for dinner each night were very personable and made us feel like royalty. One day we will go on another Alaskan cruise as it was so good, but there are so many other princess cruises to do. And then Jan says, ditto, loved everything and everyone, spectacular scenery. Going back in May 2021 for 12-day land and 7-day cruise adventure, can't wait. So Alaska is an incredible part of the world. One of my favorite cruises ever was my Alaska cruise, and I have a video about Alaska on my YouTube channel. You should definitely check that out if you are considering Alaska, because what an awesome destination to see by ship. Karen says that her first cruise was on the original Pacific Princess, departing Istanbul and cruising the Holy Land in November and December of '99, so the Love Boats, the original one. Ports of call and shore excursions we will never forget. 18 more cruises on Princess. We love the Mediterranean, Alaska, British Isles, and Scandinavian capitals. Can't wait to book our next cruise. So there you go. Some awesome first cruise stories. I will be sharing a few more as well. And I'm going to be talking to a few friends in person, a little bit of an interview style to find out what they loved about their first cruises and why they're hooked on it. So stay tuned for that. Please subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate everyone that does. Thank you. And I will be having a lot more content coming soon. Will certainly help when the cruise ships come back. Stay safe out there. Don't give yourself a haircut like I did, although I don't think it's too bad. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Cruise and Travel Guy. And you can also find me on my website at cruiseandtravelguy.com.au. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. I'll see you soon. I don't like what I'm saying, so I'm going to stop. You can also phone.